Hi, everyone, and welcome to Support Ukraine Live. My name is Sean Specie. If I have not had a pleasure of meeting you yet, I see that some of you are already watching on both YouTube where we're streaming and on LinkedIn. And so thank you so much, number one, for joining us. Our heartbeat really is just to show support, to generate awareness, and to try to help drive support. So what I would love is right now, if you could, go ahead in the comment section of wherever you are, go ahead and click and comment and say where you're tuning in from. I see we've already got some people that are tuning in from, it looks like Poland, from Denver, Colorado. Fernanda, I see you there. So if you're watching this live, again, I'd be honored for you to tune in where you're from. I'm sitting in my home studio here in Jacksonville, Florida. And I know that we've got a couple people behind the scenes that I'm going to possibly bring up if they let me bring them up. I would love for them to show their faces at the beginning of the stream. And then during the stream today, we're going to have two really great people. They're going to tell us why they're doing what they're doing to support and why they're trying to generate even more support for what's happening in Ukraine. So hello from London, I see you there. Hello from Portland, Oregon. Hello from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for being here with us. Keep dropping it in comment. Keep dropping in those comments and telling us where you're from. So again, thank you if you're just tuning in live. Glad that you're here. And the official time is 3:59, so we're gonna get started here in just a second. If you see me look around, I've got a couple of different screens. I am the one also playing the music. So, but behind the scenes, we've got some really talented people who have helped put this together. And hello from Germany. Thank you for being here. The team that's behind the scenes right now, we are also international as well. And so being international, it has presented a couple of challenges of putting this whole event together just with different time zones. And also being international, I know that we've got some people that are helping put this together that maybe this is like super early in the morning for you. I believe that it could be 5 a.m., it could be 8 a.m., it could be my time where it's 4 p.m., or it could be 1 o'clock in the afternoon, or it could be the morning for you. But regardless of where you're watching this from, or if you're watching the replay, thank you. We are going to go ahead and get started, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about why we're doing this. So hello from Sydney, Australia. Hello again from North Carolina, from Germany, from Portland, Oregon, from London. Again, my name is Sean Specie, and I'm honored to be here with you. And I got to be honest. So normally when I do live streams, normally when I do events, they're mostly for companies and they're at internal events for their companies. And usually when we come together and I help bring people together, it's a joyous occasion. And I'm trying to, I want to be real and share my emotions. This is a very emotional one for me. And so I might still crack a joke just because that's my personality. I do really enjoy helping people have a good time at events. But obviously, why we're gathering together is a little bit different than gathering together for an awards banquet or for a gala or for a conference and different things. So if you're an event professional, thank you so much. This is put together by event professionals. If you're not an event professional and you're just here to show your support, thank you also. What I would also love for you to do is, now that you've kind of said where you're from, drop in while I'm telling my story as to why this is so important to me. Please drop in the comment why is it important for you to be here to learn or to show your support. So why are you supporting? And I'm going to tell you why I'm supporting. So I grew up in Gainesville, Florida, which is nowhere near Ukraine. But my mom's mom, or her maiden, or I knew her as Grandma Zoni, and her name was Yazona Rumanyuk, and her family is from Ukraine, and they fled as refugees from Ukraine when it was under the Soviet Union, a part of the Soviet Union, and went to Canada and started a new life there. And so I grew up hearing Ukrainian words. I grew up going to school. When I would go to school and they had heritage days, what would happen is I would bring in pierogies, or I remember one time doing a book report on the Ukrainian flag. And so I still to this day, even, this is not just because of the war, but even like before then, I've got a 4.5-year-old little girl and I've got a 5-week-old little boy with my wife in the other room. And our 4.5-year-old, if I want her to eat sometimes, or if it's dinner time, I come and I walk around and I'm chasing after my 4.5-year-old going, yista, yista, which I was told means eat, eat in Ukrainian. That's how I grew up. And so this has been a really emotional week and a half, seeing and hearing the really the scariness that's happening overseas in Ukraine. And so just some of the important things that are happening right now. I mean, these are some of the big facts from the big headlines that have happened recently. The latest news when I woke up this morning is that we have hit 1 million refugees have fled Ukraine, due to the unprovoked attacks from Russia attacking Ukraine and Ukrainian cities. And for those of you, if you're watching the US or familiar with the US, this is how I put things into context. Is I heard Ukraine described as about the size of Texas. And there are cities that are 4 million, 2 million, 1 million people. So the size of Atlanta or Chicago or Dallas, Texas, and different places like that. And so these cities being attacked, and seeing reports, and being a father myself, seeing reports of fathers having to stay behind and send their wife and their kids to leave and stay behind and fight for their country, like it's just breaking my heart. And so other reports, waking up and seeing that the Ukrainian president now has survived, according to multiple reports, 3 assassination attempts on his life. Just recently, like as in the last 24 hours, it seems as if the Russians have attacked one of the largest nuclear power plants to gain control of it in Eastern Europe. And so seeing and hearing those reports and how it could, like, according to one report, if something went wrong at that power plant, it could be up like multiple times worse than Chernobyl was. And then of course, like everything else that's been happening, that I'm not sharing in this report, it's just really important that we pause and we take a moment to show our support. And so that's really what has been happening. And this is not just me. At this time, I would love to bring up the people that are behind the scenes. So, Sean, if you're there, and Fab, if you want to put yourselves on screen, I'd love for you guys to come up, because really what happened is there was a group of event professionals that it was 5 a.m. my time, I think on Monday. I woke up because my 5-week-old needed to be fed, and a group of us jumped on Zoom. I had a bunch of DMs on LinkedIn. So here's Sean and here's Fab. They're helping behind the scenes. And so these two gentlemen, along with a bunch of other people, we got together. And Fab, I think you said it best, right? Where Fab, you said that you just kind of felt helpless, but you still wanted to do something, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have Ukrainian refugees all the way in Australia from the conflict that's been lasting a very long time, including in our neighborhood, kids in the school, in my kids' class. And so for me, it's quite personal, even though I have no relationship with Ukraine and it's really the other side of the world. But yeah, I mean, better to do something than nothing. That's my attitude.
100%. 100%. Sean, how about you?
Well, I think for me, and hello everyone. My name is Shang, and I usually base in Vancouver, Canada, but I'm actually currently in Taiwan, where's my original hometown was. I think for me, this is kind of twofold. One is similar like Fab, is how can I don't want to do something when you just watch the news. Like I think when you watch the news, when you watch social medias and just watch all those horrible things happen, it just you definitely feel there's something need to be done, rather than just watching it. And I think secondly is I think some people might recognize that recently Taiwan also oftentimes be associated with the situation in ironic way. Just I think for Taiwanese, we kind of feel we can feel the pain and the struggle and then the worry of what happened in Ukraine. And so when do want to point out that Fab kind of initiate the ask, and I think it just show how quickly we can assemble together and try to do something.
100%. And so in true event professionals fashion, like what we came up with is, well, let's do an event and let's try to leverage our platforms to give other people a voice to share why this is important to them, as well as share other things that are important. So Fab and Sean, thank you so much for coming up and showing you guys. And in the comment section, I'd love to show some support for them and the other event professionals that have been making this happen. So thank you guys both for coming up. We appreciate it. You're going to get to see and hear from Sean here in a few minutes. But right now, I have the pleasure of introducing someone who is really been doing work not only in the last few weeks, but really in the last about 30 years. And so when I introduce her, please be sure to show her some appreciation, some love and support, and be sure scrolling across the bottom is a website. At any point in time, you can go there and go to supportukraine.world. And it's simply a map that's there that has been put together by another event professional named Dimash. And you can go there and add your location for where you're supporting Ukraine from. And so with me joining right now is Ruslana Jevnevsky, and she is the honorary chair and founder of Help Us Help. And if you go to that website, www.supportukraine.world, you'll find at the very bottom, there is a button there that if you feel called and led to, you can click on that and go and donate to Help Us Help. And they have boots on the ground in Ukraine right now that you're going to hear more about from Ruslana when she starts to explain a little bit more about what's going on. And Ruslana, a little bit more about her is she's deeply passionate about saving Ukraine's children and nurturing a new generation that will deliver a prosperous future for Ukraine. And in her spare time, day-to-day life right now, she is a successful Toronto-based real estate agent. She's also the mother of 4 daughters, and one of whom is adopted from Ukraine. She also, a headline from the Globe and Mail is that she helped orphaned children have hope. She received in 2015, she received the Caring Canadian Award from the Governor General of Canada, as well as the Meritorious Service Medal for initiating Help Us Help the Children, which is a project that you're going to hear again more about here in just a second. So Ruslana, number one, thank you for being here with us. I know that you're going to get to share with us a little bit more about your family. It's been emotional for you because you know people that are over there right now. So Ruslana, number one, thank you for giving up your time to be here with us and tell us more about what's happening and why it's so important that we support. So the first question I have for you is, what made you decide to be here with us?
I think it's really important that the word spreads globally, internationally, about what's happening in Ukraine and the atrocities that are taking place right now. It's very personal for me. With 30 years, we've had 3 generations of kids grow up from the 90s till now. And it breaks my heart to know that all these kids that we worked with, a lot of them have gone to the front line, and I don't know if they'll come back. I don't know if they'll be alive. So yes, it's personal.
And so tell us more about the children that you're talking about, because and first let's go into your origin story as to why you got involved in Ukraine. So when we were speaking just yesterday and the day before, you were telling me more about how your grandparents and your parents left Ukraine a number of years ago. So tell us a little bit more about why that, and then how you got involved in Ukraine in the early 90s.
So my grandparents, of course, had to leave Ukraine because they were going to be arrested. My grandmother's sister, who stayed back, was sent to Siberia and hardly survived. She was in Siberia for almost 17 years. My grandparents escaped. One set and the other set escaped. And my parents at that time were 15 and 16 years old. They made it to Canada after a very, very long journey. And my parents actually met in Canada and got married here. One of the things my grandmother would do when I was a little kid, I guess I would be the first generation of the refugee parents, she would have me on her knee and she would tell me stories about how they would escape and how they fought the Soviets and how they had to leave their country. My grandmother sat on her suitcase thinking she would go back to Ukraine until the late 60s, actually, thinking that she would go back, but it never happened. They had a bakery. One set of grandparents had a bakery in Ukraine. And when they came here, they actually brought still what's called piquas. Piquas is the yeast. And they started what they knew how to do, which was a bakery. And it has now been in our family for 3 generations. My grandparents, then my father ran it, and now my brother. It's a very big bakery in Toronto, makes 10,000 loaves of bread a day. And he's also got a dairy there. And it's in our family. So, and the bakery's called Future Bakery. The reason they called it Future was because Canada became their future. And so, yes, it was a hard, compelling story from both sides of the family. My other grandfather was a priest, and they escaped as well, and they escaped with their lives. So, yes, we know, or when I look at the papers that my parents left and my grandparents left, I see the refugee papers. I see them crossing their tickets on the boat where they, took 2 or 3 months to cross. I see who took them in. My mother, who was 16, they wanted to adopt her, but she didn't want to get adopted. So she worked as a domestic in Quebec. And then she made her way to Toronto. She was the first to get over here. And then she brought every one of my grandparents and her sisters and brothers over. It's a story that will stay for us forever.
Well, and then fast forward. And you have to forgive me.
That's okay.
I'll turn myself down a little bit. Fast forward, there's you and your husband have 3 beautiful girls.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden, you guys decide that you want to adopt a 4th.
Yes.
And your husband comes up with the idea of adopting from Ukraine.
Yes.
And this is in the early 90s. And then tell us what happens through that adoption process and why you got involved and created Really Help Us Help from the ground up through that.
So in the early 90s, we decided we had 3 baby girls, and we decided that we would adopt a 4th child. And so we went to Ukraine, and this is early independence of Ukraine. It just happened, literally. And it was still so Soviet. There was nothing. There were no stores yet. There was no communication. It was still like going back in time, what I imagine what the Soviet Union was. We went through a whole bunch of orphanages, and I was appalled, as was my husband. There was a shortage of food. There was a shortage of toys. There were no diapers. It was just horrific. And the kids the newborns and the 6-month-olds would be in cribs that would hold 12, 14 children in one crib, and not enough workers, staff that would be able to give them what they needed in terms of for developmental they would develop developmental delays, no sitting at the proper time, not enough hugs, not changing diapers, not enough food. So all these kids were suffering already from developmental delays. When I found my daughter in an orphanage, she was tiny. The first time I saw her, she was 4 months old. I had to go back to Canada. We had to do all the international adoption papers. I came back when she was 11 months, and she was, I believe it was about 7 pounds or 8 pounds, and that was it. And she had no hair. She was getting rickets. She had no teeth. She looked totally anorexic, like she was skin and bones. And I was absolutely horrified. By the time, in those days, there were still no embassies in Ukraine, so all the papers had to go through Moscow. So we had to wait 3 weeks. Nobody wanted to take us in a hotel. We were running with her, I remember, on over the railroad tracks. Finally, someone let us into a hotel after we begged, and this was in the middle of winter. And it was very traumatizing. She was sick. There's not enough infant formula. I couldn't get diapers, nothing. There was nothing available. I think I got just as traumatized as she was. We finally made it to Canada after waiting those 3 weeks after we picked her up. And I was truly afraid and scared that she would die before I made it to Canada. That then there would be an international incident. When we got to Canada, right away, we got her into a sick kids hospital where they put her on intravenous, and basically her diagnosis was failure to thrive. And it took 3 or 4 months before she was able to start eating. We had to teach her how to eat. We had to teach her a lot of things. And she started to gain weight. And when we went to the pediatrician after 3 or 4 months, he said, wow, she's really improved. And then he turns around to me, and you have to remember that I'd seen so many children starving that left a indelible kind of memory in me, and I was traumatized by that. And he looked at me, and I had told him about this, and he looked at me and he said, well, this child won the lottery. What about all the other thousands of children you saw? And that was like a knife in my heart. And at that moment, I knew that we had to help all the other orphan children in Ukraine. So at that point, I started to call all my friends, a lot of professionals, doctors, teachers, everybody, and we started to organize humanitarian aid drives. What started as a mom and pop operation grew just enormously, very quickly. We brought pictures back. People saw the condition of the orphanages. And what we developed after a few years was major humanitarian aid routes that would go out 3-4 times a year even, and hit 25 orphanages each time. By the end of all the humanitarian aid routes, before Ukraine got up on its feet and was able to take care of the children in the orphanages, we were doing 100 orphanages every year and supplying them with new medicine, all the new medications that they needed, antibiotics, deworming, everything that they needed, infant formula for all of them, sensory stimulation toys throughout, clothes, all kinds of scholastic materials. Because in those days, you have to remember that orphanages were divided into 3 groups: 0 to 3, newborns to 3, then 3 to 7 years of age, then the oldest orphanages were 7 to 17. So they were completely separated. And so we started to help with the 0 to 3s. Then we also progressed to the 3 to 7s. Then we realized that the 7 to 17s needed a lot of help as well, because that's where all of a sudden the kids start to become a little bit rougher. There was a pecking order amongst the kids. And we also realized that they really don't have enough life skills. And one summer we were driving through the orphanages, actually helping the orphanages, and realized that they have no summer programs. And that's when we decided to start summer camps, where we could teach children activities of daily living, life skills, survival skills, etc. We taught them about anti-trafficking, about narcotics, drugs, everything, sex education, because in an orphanage, they were packed like sardines. I don't need to say more. It was a very rough first 15 years until President Yushchenko, Viktor, the one who was poisoned by Putin, that was really disfigured. When he came into power, and I had met him, and he realized how bad the orphanages were, that's when the reform program started in the orphanages, and also reform programs to get the kids out of the orphanages, to give them a normal way of life throughout, with families or foster homes. And that's how the program started. So from just giving humanitarian aid, it went into summer camps for life skills. Then it went into summer and winter camps. Then a scholarship student program developed. We now have, every year we have about 50 students on our scholarship programs. And it's now that we've brought up basically 3 generations of children. And we raised, as volunteers, $25 million in the first 25 years. Which is an incredible amount of money. And we got help from great benefactors like Mr. Jim Timmerty, Eugene Melnick. There were a lot of good benefactors. Some took care of medicine, some took care of the other needs. So they spread it out, and it was, it worked. It worked, and we brought up thousands and upon thousands of children. I think I sent you how many children had been through camp and stuff.
Yeah, and one of the things that you told me that really stuck out to me with the work that you all are doing in the orphanages is how because you mentioned that 3 generations now you've helped raise for about 30 years by going over and trying to help this system become better and help these children integrate into being like positive members of society in order to break a cycle. And the sad thing about what's happening right now that you were explaining to me, which really touched my heart and really made me emotional because again, like as a father myself and in this age range, like I can only imagine what it would be like to go through that, is now with this war and with this invasion into Ukraine, the death and the destruction that could potentially happen with now this generation that has come up, they're now of age where they could be having kids, and so the cycle could be broken. But now they're having to fight a war, and they're having their country invaded, and so it could start all over again, which
Yes.
is just incredibly sad. And so that really was just one more reason for I know why I personally support Ukraine. And really, I would love for you to share now with Help Us Help. So now that we've heard more about the story about how you became so passionate about what's happening in Ukraine before now, as well as with Help Us Help and how long about 30 years as an organization, volunteer based, and then now officially you've been involved. So, what now is Help Us Help raising funds for? You mentioned, I think it was about $1 million is like your target goal right now, and really for 2 strategic reasons. So, what are those reasons?
One of the things that we found out, because we also have a veterans program, because once the war started, we had half orphans join our programs because their dads died on the front line. And one last thing I will mention is that our whole staff in Ukraine, we have an office in Ukraine. They're all run by my first generation, second generation orphan kids that are now professionals. So I'm very proud of that. But right now, everybody's
It should be.
understands. What we are raising money for are two specific kind of things. One is IFACs, or this is medical supplies for, it's basically military first aid kits. When we started to call, because again, a lot of our kids and a lot of our volunteers are on the front lines, they said there are no first aid kits available. Everything has run out because of Syria, the war in Syria. So what we've done is we actually buy the gauze, we buy the tourniquets and everything else, which has been sourced in Europe, and they're being brought across the border. There's our volunteer from Canada is arriving on Monday, and they'll be brought across the border on Monday through Thursday. All the supplies will come in, and we have groups of volunteers that are set up in Lviv and in Kyiv that will be putting together these first aid kits and getting them to the military so that they have it on the front lines. That is one of our goals. The other thing we are doing is actually trying to evacuate children that got stuck in the orphanages or in the foster homes, or to get them out. And even now, we were late. Not that we were late, it's just that Russia attacked Berdyansk, and there's a huge, huge orphanage there. And also, we have an orphanage in Mariupol. They got out in time. Zaporizhia is okay, but we lost also. It used to be called, it's called Oleshku now, Churopinsk, and these are all our handicapped kids, and there's hundreds of them, and they're under Russian control now. Berdyansk and Oleshku is under Russian control, and I don't know what's going to happen to those children. The others we're trying to get, we're every day our staff who are now in safe houses are calling to see who's stuck and who we can help evacuate out of there into the mountains, into the area where we had all our camps, which the kids know. So for them, it's a safe space as well.
Well, and I also was listening to an interview that you did. Not even a few days ago, that was sent to me when you and I got introduced. And part of that story was how you helped them find a car to be able to get out of where the attacks were, when the attacks were first starting. So number one, hear me say, like, as someone who's newer to all of this, is thank you. Thank you for what you've done. I mean, I'm sure on behalf of everyone who's watching, I've been watching a little bit of the comments coming in of thank you for sharing your story. What a story, proud of you. So thank you so much for what you have done for 30 years and now what you are doing. And if you're watching this stream and you want to support the international first aid kits that Ruslana and Help Us Help are putting together, if you want to help with these evacuations and if you want to donate financially, you can do that at supportukraine.world. At the very bottom of the website, there is a button that will take you straight to the official Help Us Help website. So we are not collecting, like myself and Fab and this, like what we're doing right now, we are not taking any donations. We're just trying to send people to the right people that they can, so that their funds can be maximized with actual boots on the ground, just like what you've been doing. Well, and so I'm going to ask again in just a second, but before I do, Ruslana, number one, again, thank you for what you've been doing. Thank you again for your time and being here with us. And is there anything, I want to give you the floor one more time. Is there any final thoughts, anything that I should have asked, but I didn't, that you would like to share with us here?
Well, in Canada, if you go to our site, we have a registered charity. In the States, we also have a registered charity number. So when people push the button, they can, if they're Americans, it is a charity. And in Canada, it is a charity. And we actually have a charity in Ukraine. But right now, it's impossible to get money to Ukraine. And I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart and from all the children and that the world has opened up their just opened their hearts to us and is out there to help us save a country that has really been struggling and trying to become democratic and free and has done a fabulous job doing that. And that now that 30 years of work has been destroyed, we will rebuild, we will continue. The new generations, remember, over 50% of the people living in Ukraine are under 40. We will rebuild, the children will rebuild because they remember how it felt to be free.
Well, again, thank you so much. You're moving me to tears. So your passion is very evident. The emotion is very evident. And the last final thing I would love is you shared with me kind of, I guess, a Ukrainian saying that thread by thread, right? I was talking about how I don't know if I can promise that we can generate $1 million just through this humble live stream event that we're doing right now. But what is that? Can you share that phrase with us?
In Ukraine, it's nitka za nitkою, a bідному сорочка, which means thread by thread, and you make a shirt for a person that doesn't have one. Yeah. And that's how this is. It's one by one, and all of a sudden you have the end product. So every dollar is always appreciated. It doesn't matter whether it's $1, $5, $100, $1,000. Every dollar is not taken for granted.
100%. Well, thank you so much. That is heard and that is felt. Like I felt that in my soul when you shared that with me. I hope that other people share that as well, that it's just one little dollar at a time. So thank you again, Ruslana, for being here. And thank you for sharing your time. Thank you for sharing your passion. Thank you for sharing your story and a little bit more about how we can help.
You're welcome.
So thank you again.
You're welcome. And behind me are some pictures of some of my kids. I know you can't read what's written there, but we talk about the war, and we've talked, and some of our kids that have grown up with us are behind me. So,
well, thank you again for being here.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And so, if you're watching this live stream, if you're watching there, show some support for Ukrainians. So you can drop a comment there and encourage her. And then number two is I've got a couple asks. These are some simple ways that you can support Ukraine and the Ukrainian people. Is number one is just show that you are supporting by going to this website, which keeps scrolling on the screen, www.supportukraine.world. When you go there, you're going to find a map. And that map, we've already had 200 people drop their location to say where they're where they're basically supporting from. It's just to a map that provides, shows someone, so if they go there, they say, hey, there's people from literally all over the world that are supporting us, supporting Ukraine. Number two is you can donate. If you go to www.supportukraine.world, I already mentioned this. We on this live stream that are powering this, like we're not collecting any donations. That the links and the buttons that you'll see there at the bottom, the first button that you'll find is a button straight to the Red Cross website, the International Red Cross website. So if you would like to give there, that is a great organization. And then right there underneath the Red Cross, you'll see where there's a button that'll take you straight to help us help charity. So if you click that button, it'll take you straight to that website. Consider giving financially if you can, and again, drop your location on the map. And another way that you can support that doesn't cost anything is simply by dropping a comment or sharing this video with someone. You can send it in a DM. You can share it on your LinkedIn. You can share the YouTube on your Twitter. So simply sharing this video to spread awareness and to share this video with more people so that more people are more aware of what's happening. And then they'll be sure to share. This is not related to this event. This is just in general. Be sure to share accurate information, not disinformation, not misinformation, but accurate information. So if you can, do your own homework, do your own research, and vet what you're sharing and why you're sharing it. And so that is a way that you can support Ukraine in this effort to beat back the oppressors, to beat back Russia. And so, and then the last one that I have written down is if you are in a country that is receiving refugees, like you heard earlier, someone who's helping with this event named Fab, he said that there are already Ukrainian refugees there in Australia with him where he's located. And so if refugees come to you, then please just be welcoming. I saw this video on LinkedIn earlier today that basically said, hey, if there are refugees coming, if you can at all hire them, educate them, and help them to assimilate into society. And that in that way, you can support Ukraine through what's happening. Because being displaced, I can't imagine what it would be like. And so thank you everyone for considering those ways to donate. Well, now I'm going to turn the floor over to a gentleman who is a good friend that I've gotten to know through the internet and through the hashtag Event Profs World. And so without further ado, please welcome up Sean Chang. Sean is in Taiwan, and Sean is going to have a conversation with another event professional that I've gotten to know over the course of about 2 years now. But I will let you make that introduction. Sean, thanks for being here with us, man.
Thank you, Sean. And thanks again, Rosanna. What a lovely story. And for everyone who's turning, again, thank you for watching this live streaming. And if you have a minute, please, like what Sean just said, click supportukraine.world and do something. I think the next person would like to bring on and to share his story is more practical, right? I think for a lot of us who on the call today is we move by the story. We feel empathy. We feel sad about what happened, but we also wonder what we can do, and what we can do beside donate and beside showing support. And so the next we would really like to bring up, which also is another amazing person in the event space, Pedro Gose, who is the CEO of InEvent. InEvent is a Y Combinator venture-backed company that have empowered virtual event the past couple of years and have been doing amazing, great product. But I think what's more important today here is what Pedro just did last week. So hello, Pedro, how are you?
Hey, Sean, how are you?
And thank you for joining us. And I think, without further ado, how about we'll let you kind of tell us a bit how, actually, I think the first is, how was your team? Because I believe you have some team member based in Eastern Europe, and how's everyone doing?
Everyone's all right. We don't have anyone directly in the conflict zone. So the team, we have people all over. We are a very diverse company. but we had no one in Ukraine or across the region. I think the closest person is in Bulgaria, so it's a little bit close, but this person is safe. Yes.
That's good to hear. And can you share with us a bit, because it's really amazing. Basically, last week when we saw your post on LinkedIn, that you public kind of offer to support Ukrainian who kind of fled out the country and need financial support and they need a job. Maybe share with us a bit more on what's the trend of thoughts of doing it and what's the post is about.
We believe that, in terms of need, that's not the first time that we did something like that. Every time that we see something like during COVID, for example, we offer our software for free, but at this time we felt that we could offer jobs, and help people relocate to a different country. Sometimes it can be for 6 months while they are in this process. And so we offered them the opportunity to, if they are based in Ukraine, so they don't need to be Ukrainians. It can be a person that's based in Ukraine. They can be from another nationality. And if they want to relocate to one of the places that we have people today, so in South America or in Europe or in Africa, we'll be happy to provide their airfare, cover for the cost of airfare, and also hire them as part of our marketing or event teams or software teams. So that's what we are offering. This, I think, is a small gesture compared to what other companies are doing, but we have been able to provide this financially. So that's what we posted on social media this week. Yes.
And so if people want to reach out, how can they do that?
So
simply go to the event website?
Yeah, so they can just reach out to me directly. So we have a post on LinkedIn. We also posted on our blog today about this program, this relief program, and they can also DM me. I'll be happy to show our page where we have all the different job offers that we currently have, all the open roles. And if they see an opportunity that sees fit with what they can provide, the skill sets, our team is ready to quickly review the profile and make a decision quickly on this interview process. Yes.
That's amazing to note. And have anyone reached out to you guys yet? Is that
We actually did.
Nice.
Yeah, we had 300 people apply so far. Most of them are not Ukrainians. We had a lot of people from different regions applying. I think they saw the opportunity as, we offer remote jobs. So a lot of people apply because of the reach of the post. But Ukrainians directly, I think we only had a few so far. I think so far there's some other pressing matters that they are dealing with. It has been hard for them to actually go and see this opportunity, or this relief program may not be so close to them right now. So it's a challenge, but we still have this, and we're offering this to everyone that needs this relief program. Yes.
So I guess my last question, and again, thank you, Pedro, because I know you're in the middle of the meeting. But what do you think that us or company can do beside donate and showing support? I think the initial what you did was really inspire us, I would say. But what would you suggest other people to do?
What I say is, we as event managers and event communicators, we are in the communication business. So we need to bring awareness to this topic and make sure that we are creating platforms or places where people can talk about or exactly what we're doing today. So other people not in the communication business can see, and then they can provide the resources. Sometimes someone that's in the transportation business will see this live stream or this event that we're organizing today, and they will provide their resources to help. So I think our job as communicators is to spread the word and see what people are doing well, the good examples of what is being done at this terrible moment. And by communicating, we can bring other parties that are interested to help this crisis. So I think that's our work, to communicate. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Pedro, to sharing about this. And once again, for everyone who are watching the live streaming, if you know anyone who is recently flee out from Ukraine, who just settled, and who's looking for something to sustain them at this point, please reaching out and let them know about the opportunity that Pedro has offered in support. And thank you again, Pedro. Any last word?
No, just yeah, hope
Let's,
that
let's
ends
hope the situation.
back to peace. Yeah, that's what we are all looking for. All right.
Agree.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much. Thank you so much, Pedro. And I think what we have showing on screen right now is exactly what the post Pedro have made on LinkedIn. And if you are on LinkedIn, I highly suggest. Again, like I'm not working for event, but I'm just really inspired by this, by the gesture. And welcome to please share this with other persons and let other people know about these initiatives. And I think the most important thing is maybe this can inspire you to thinking about something, right? Thinking about what else you can do, or your companies can do, or the organization that you work for can do. Like we all can start from small, but if there are a chance that you are or your company are in a position to do more, I think we need kind of all kind of help. So I think at the point we can kind of bring our Sean back, and I think the next part we have a few other friends who also would love to join the conversation, right?
Yeah, we're gonna have Ronald come up, and Sean, you're welcome to stay with us if you would like to. You can let us know behind the scenes. Totally up to you. But I think just to kind of close out that segment, and then I'll hand it to you, Ronald, and you and I can dialogue a little bit about this. But I think what Pedro has done at an event to share that, like, it just shows what a little bit of creativity can do. Because it's not like an event promised X number of dollars or X number of things or whatever, but it's something that they had available. Like they as a company already had a need, and it was definitely a way of supporting like the people that are there. So I really think it's inspirational for us to think outside of the box. Just like with the map, I would not have thought of the map that's at supportukraine.world and putting that together. So I think it's really inspiring to see that. So Ronald, what would you like to share with us? I know that we were kind of chatting a little bit behind this, and primarily the conversation is centered around like why is this conversation important to us as event professionals?
I think this conversation is very important for us to create more awareness. I'll just speak from my own experience why I'm actually supporting this. So in the recent years, I actually get to know organizations like Refuge for Refugees here in Malaysia. What they do is they actually help to raise funds to help the refugees that are located in Malaysia. And during COVID time, the refugees were actually suffering because they had no support. They couldn't get food. And this organization, which is an NGO, actually helped out by collecting funds from public, organize all these food deliveries to all these refugees. And we were pretty much involved in raising funds behind the scenes as well, through friends, through our network that we know, to actually help them. And through the pictures and photos, videos that we see from their posts on Instagram, we see how these refugees actually live. And it's really sad to see how these children, following their parents, they are not they're relocated to a foreign land. They can't find a job. They couldn't get proper education, and it's really sad. So it's all about human rights, and we have so much death during this whole 2 years of COVID. And I think another war, and to split up these families, I think it's just really cruel. And that's why we need to create more awareness. I think a lot of people know, like, yeah, war, you have tank, you have missiles, you have all this death, but then a lot of people do not see actually how much these victims actually, the people that go through it, the families go through it, will actually suffer. And I think it is with what we can do. We have the platform, we have the community, we have the network. I think it is just right to actually spread the words, let more people know.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think it's social media. I have a love-hate relationship, just being honest, with social media in general already. But I think that the world has changed from what war used to look like, right? Like I keep hearing it, and I agree with this sentiment that this full scale invasion of Russia going into Ukraine, almost nothing like this has happened since really World War II, when Hitler started to invade other countries that were nearby, right? And even not nearby. And then I was actually listening to a Twitter space, and this is again like the power of social media and seeing real-time videos. And I was listening to a couple of people voicing their opinions and stating some facts about some of the things that are happening in Russia, with people being arrested, possible conscriptions into the military, and some of the other reports that are happening. Like some of these things might not have happened and before, like between now and when Stalin was in power. And so, like the social media being able to see, and I think it just drives empathy, like you were talking about for the refugees, because now instead of just seeing it in a piece of newspaper or in a black and white video that would have happened maybe in the World War II type era, when something like this would have happened before, now like we see it a few seconds later because people are either streaming it or because they're uploading it in different things. So I agree with you. I think it's important to show our support. And then just to add on to what you were saying, as event professionals, I think that like even we can think through the box. Like we're just a group of maybe like, I mean, in the Discord server. So to give people context, like we had a Zoom meeting on a Monday. Out of that Zoom meeting, we created like a Discord server where we started to chat back and forth. And then so really in just a few days, we put this
And here we
together and
are.
reached out to people. And it was a group effort, but we're just we're just a few of how many thousands of event professionals that are out there that could do something like this through social media, which we're leveraging right now. And so I think it's important to have this awareness and to have these conversations for our families and for other people's families. Anything you want to add to that?
And I think, like you say, with social media, we get to see a lot more um, true stories, because previously we only see what the media wants to show us, the mainstream media wants to show us. Right now, it's really uncensored content or real people on the ground showing what's happening. I think I've shared with you one of the TikTok video that
Mhm.
that I came across, and I think
shows our cinema.
it's good facts that we can actually
It's been a whole
understand
week
what's
since
happening.
Russia started a full-scale war against my country, Ukraine. Now, while Putin says that they're only attacking military targets, that is just not true. Number one, Russian troops bombed the Independence Square in Kharkiv, that is the 6th largest square in Europe. Number two, they destroyed the completely civilian Shorzar cinema in Chernihiv, that is one of the oldest cinemas in Ukraine. Number three, they destroyed the Primachenko Museum, who was known to be as one of the most brilliant artists and hailed even by Picasso. Number four, they destroyed the monument and memorial of Babi Yar. That is a place where everyone comes to honor the victims of Holocaust during World War II. And number five, they destroyed the largest aircraft in the world, the pride of Ukrainian aviation, called Mriya, that is translated into the dream. Please share this video to fight Russian propaganda and stop the war. Slava Ukraini.
And for context, because I know that one of the things that we talked about here as a way to support is to show support is to share not misinformation or disinformation. And so to give people context, like after you shared that with us, I did some research, and again, I'm not perfect, but here's what I found based upon like I went through each one of the claims here. Number one, that there's been a claim that no civilian like attacks will happen. So from the Washington Post, the Russian foreign minister claimed that no strikes are being made on civilian infrastructure, which you saw a couple of different things, like a TV tower has been one. And then each one of those claims, the 5 different attacks that have happened. So the BBC, BuzzFeed, New York Times, so like reputable, multiple reports to confirming that these things have been attacked, these things have been destroyed, and that they have been happening. And so I think it is important for us to see this, to share, like you just shared it, and I wouldn't have seen it probably if you hadn't shared it with me personally with our small group. So it doesn't have to be publicly with the world. It can be through a text message. It can be a direct message. It can be with a small group that you're close with and you're sharing, and then also like doing your homework before you share it publicly with the world.
Yep.
And I think that that's something that's really important, because what we also don't want to do is share disinformation or misinformation that is going to cause problems for other people that are on the ground trying to find out real things that are happening, right? So thank you for sharing that with us.
Welcome.
Yeah. Well, now coming up, I'm going to do my best to pronounce it, but is it? We've got Fab. Fab, you're going to do it. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm going to do a quick intro. So, I think it's pronounced Powell. So Powell's a guy that I've met on LinkedIn, and he's doing amazing work. He's an event professional. He's been. Let me just quickly share what he's been doing. I think it's more impactful to show you. So here's an example of the posts he's doing these days. And so he's been ferrying people back and forth with his van, shipping and supplies, just getting personally involved in that. And without further ado, I want to bring him on so he can talk about what he's doing himself. All right. Oh, Powell, you're muted.
Hello.
Yes, we can
Hi,
hear you.
we can hear you.
Oh, great. I can hear you too.
Thank you for being with us. Number one, what time is it, and what city are you in?
I'm in Medica city. It's on the border between Ukraine and Poland right now. And we do have 11 p.m. close to midnight. But over here the time is actually, and right now there is no any difference. So we don't know even if it's Tuesday or Wednesday or what kind of day. Right now it's I believe it's one of the first time that where I am in the something like we could call hotel. This is looks like that.
Yeah.
Okay. And we have a first time to relax from a pass. I mean, relax. We need to rest a little bit because in other ways we are not able to do anything. So it's the first time from a couple of days when we have such a luxury.
Yeah. Well, thank you for being with us, and we don't want to keep you too long so that you can rest. So tell us a little bit more about some of the things that you're doing and experiencing, what's going on right now.
Mm-hmm. Well, so we came here in Tuesday or Monday, I believe. So at the border, as probably you know from the news, because there is a lots of journalists from around the world over there. There is lots of income of refugees, war refugees from Ukraine to the Polish border. Every day depends from the day, but it's between 50,000 and right now it's only women's with the children's. So the men's in the age of 18 until 60, they are not allowed to leave Ukraine because they need to stay to fight. So only wives, mothers, and daughters and sons are allowed to leave the country. Our job is, the job which we are doing. We are supplying medicals on the one side of the borders and taking back people on the way back, and some other special things. But this is mostly what we do. We're doing this as much as possible, as many tours as possible. So we are driving families, kids, which is, you need to talk with these people. You need to give them that feeling that they are right now safe, and there is lots of fun. Sometimes there is also lots of hard moments, heartbreaking moments, definitely. So this is how it is. This is what we do.
I can only imagine. I can only imagine. And you can see on the screen, there's some people that are watching that are saying thank you for your important work. Hear me say that as well. Hear us say, like, we're from afar, like, we want to do what we can to support you guys. And I can
Thank you
hear,
for it. I would say thank you for the thank yous, but we, from the word thank you in so many languages, my head is exploding, but not over the internet, over here from this Ukrainian women's, children's, and everything. We are saying them, thanks. Just smile. And for you all abroad, away from here, we will say, no, thank you. Just send, donate those people, donate those supplies which are absolutely necessary. I'm not saying about war supplies. That we don't care about that. It's not our case. But I'm saying about these things which all these women's needs, all these kids. So, for example, we are giving some teddy bears. The first smile after 2-3 days of um, getting here of the after travel in the train. They traveling in the trains like, I would not say, but really bad conditions just to get over here. And over here, we trying to do everything to make them feel like they safe. They can release. I had the situation at the beginning, like we took one family, and the man was, so there was a family, husband, wife, 2 kids, and some grandmother, and we took them out. We arranged the bus for them, so straight I put them directly to the bus to, I believe, to Berlin. And the man starts crying. I said, "Come on, stop crying. You need to be strong." And he said, "I was strong over there. There was bombs. I have to take care about the family. Right now I'm safe, and now I can. Now now the nerves just released." So that's the kind of stories which you can see over here all the time.
yeah, well, that I think that's a great quote that we can share. Like, we don't need thanks, we need supplies. So donate what
Yeah,
you can. I think that
yeah.
story resonates with me as a father, of being strong in the moment, and then when you get the chance to be vulnerable, like, I can only
Uh,
imagine the range of emotions that sweep over you.
this man was the luck. He was lucky because he could leave the country. Just because he wasn't Ukrainian citizens. The
Mm,
situations are even worse over here because the fathers, the sons are staying inside the country. The
right.
wives and daughters and little sons going only away.
Mm,
So that's the situations over here. So all those people, we are helping those men uh, to feel at least a little bit relaxed that their family are safe, but they are overstaying. They staying over there,
got it.
and sometimes the people coming just like they were there, without nothing, without suitcase, without money. And here on the Polish border, there is lots of
Russia's full-scale invasion.
volunteers. Yeah. So there is a we putting them to the buses. They go into the cities, to the refugee welcome points, and over there they are placed in the certain places like private houses, some hotels, some spaces. This is how it looks like over here.
Yeah. Well, stay strong, and I hope that you get some rest.
Yeah,
Thank I know that you said no more thank yous, but I'm still going to say it anyway. Thank you for
thank you.
delivering the teddy bears. and thank you for delivering the medical supplies, because
We
what you're
also
doing is
delivering lots
incredibly
of smile.
important.
We also delivering smile. So, and really, please, if you have any chance to support, because I understand you if you are abroad, far away from here, you can't do nothing more than donate.
Right.
You will not come over here on the border. You will don't do that. We totally, absolutely understand that. But donations to any kind of foundations over here who are working. I know there is all around the world many different kind of foundations, but I'm over here and I see what's happening over here. It is happening here in Poland. Okay, and those people are taking supplies from Poland. I mean, not from Poland, but from the donations from Poles from around the world also. So think about it, and if you could, that's great. That even $1, it always helps
Yeah.
to all of these people. So thank you
Well,
very much.
and if someone is watching this and you want to
How
take
well?
action right now, what you can do is you can go to supportukraine.world, and
Yeah.
on there there's two links. There's a link to the Red Cross and there's a link to Help Us Help. And both of those organizations are helping to get supplies over to situations just like what Powell's in.
Yeah.
Fab, I'll hand it to you.
But I just wanted to personally thank you because I know how much you've been working and how hard it's been to get in contact with you, and just the endless driving and back and forth. So I
Sorry
really
for that. It's
appreciate
really.
you.
Yeah.
No, I really appreciate that you've jumped on this. What I really wanted to show someone who was there on the ground in the middle of it and not just talking from 1,000 miles away. So I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
actually, this is because I'm trying to I'm posting it just because I try to show up the people how does it look over here, which with what we are need to facing. And when I see sometimes the post from 10 hours ago, and I see the people who saying, oh, look at our new factory, we just opened it, and I'm thinking myself, oh my God, they are so happy over there. And we are so far from the happy over here. And I was thinking, I absolutely understand that they need to run the businesses and everything else. I was also think about my own business that, yeah, I should do it. But over here, we really can't do that. And absolutely understand that you have to doing it. But if you could at least post something some from time to time, or pass some news about that situation, or put Ukraine flag on your on to let us all see over here that you are really understand that situation over here. This is really important for us over here. And not only, actually, we over here we are safe. Sometimes depends on the actions we are doing, but the people over there, they really need that support, that they need to know that the world see them, and all of that what's happening over there.
Well, that's important to hear. That's important for all of us to hear that, because that's something that I've heard, but I haven't heard it from someone that's on the ground just like you. But the sharing with the flag, sharing the
Yeah,
information.
at least that you, of course you need to work.
Right.
Everybody needs to work, yeah, but at least some post from time to time, or little flag, or that's really something.
Will do. Will do. We will definitely do that. Heard and received. And now I would like to give you permission to get some rest, just like you were saying you
Yeah,
need to
thank you.
get.
Few
So,
hours maybe, we will see, depends.
okay.
Okay, thank you guys, thank you
Thank you
everyone.
for being here with us.
Thank you, bye guys.
Yep. So Fab, I think to close us off, we've got two quick videos, right? So I'm seeing behind the scenes, we've got a TikTok video that Ronald just found. that is, yeah, I'll just let the video play for
More
itself.
than a week since the beginning of Russia's full-scale invasion of my country, Ukraine. Now, Putin claims that there are no casualties sustained by the Russian army and no soldier has been captured. Well, here are some videos of Russian soldiers in captivity in Ukraine calling their family.
Короче, нас на Украину отправили. Наши войска по городам херачат. А нам вообще совершенно другую херню говорили. Они нас обманули, что мы защищать приехали, а мы наоборот приехали сюда убивать. Пускай они позвонят на эту горячую линию и узнают, как забрать тела. Какие тела? Ну их тела. Какие тела? Я вас так сильно люблю.
Всех убили. Всех. Они даже не забирают трупы.
Ехали на учение, ночью подорвали, сказали садиться в машину по колоннам и следуйте за колонной.
Все нормально, меня никто не бьет, кормят, все хорошо.
Я тебя тоже люблю. Давай.
Please share this so that Russian people across the globe, brainwashed by Putin's propaganda, can see what's actually going on.
Well, if you're watching this and hear us say, like, that was real time, it literally just came in. And so that video is a little bit graphic in nature, but this is a graphic and this is an emotional time. And so, yeah, I don't really know what to say from there. Besides, you heard from Pavel, you heard from Ruslana, you heard from Pedro. Let's do what we can to show support. Again, you can do that by going to supportukraine.world. There is a map there where you can click and show where in the world you're showing support from. Over 200 people have now done so. And our goal is to get 10,000 people to put that they're supporting Ukraine from literally all over the world. So please go ahead and do so. I know that I've done it, and I would be honored if you did it as well. The second thing is, you heard it again, is to donate. You can do that again by going to supportukraine.world. And underneath the map, there is a link to the Red Cross international donation site. You can also go underneath that, and Ruslana, who is here with us, the founder and an honorary chair of Help Us Help, you can find a button there that takes you straight to the website. 100% of the donations are going to them. We are not collecting anything. Those are like official to them. There's no like fee. There's nothing like that we're getting. That is not what we're here for. We would just be honored if you would consider going to the website, supportukraine.world, scrolling down, clicking on the donate button, and it'll take you to the website and you can follow the instructions there. So please consider doing that either to one of these organizations or to another one, which, as you heard, medical supplies are needed. Evacuations are needed. Supporting refugees are needed. There's all kinds of needs that are happening right now because of this. You can share this video. You can share other videos. Please, again, the power of social media and the internet, as I'm seeing right here, like we can see what's happening almost in real time when it's happening from videos like Powell, who we just heard from, like the gentleman that we just saw sharing on TikTok. So please share and try to do a little bit of research into making sure it's accurate information. And then again, welcoming and assisting refugees. If you're in a country that's there, I would be honored if you would welcome them and help educate them, help them assimilate. I will do the same where I'm from here in the United States if they come to this area, and I would like to do that as well. And then the last thing, this is a little bit unscripted, but I just felt God putting this on my heart to speak from the heart, that if you're watching this and you're of Russian descent, or if you're in Russia, this somehow reaches you. I'm American. I'm born and raised American, and my family's Ukrainian. And so there's a lot of talk. And so hear me say, as an American, even of Ukrainian descent, hear me say, like, I don't hate you and I don't want anything from you. All we are for, I'm not against you as a person and I'm not against you as a country, but here is what I am for, is I am for justice, I'm against oppression and I'm for justice. I am against aggression and I'm for peace. And so hear me say, like, from one person to maybe one other person, like, I'm not against you and I don't want destruction to rain down upon you, but hear me say that I'm asking I'm asking you to do what you can to stop the war and to stop this aggression that's happening from one country to another. And so I'm just, yeah. I don't hate you. We don't hate you. Hear me say that. I'm a father myself. I'm a husband. I've got, again, you heard me say I've got a 4.5-year-old little girl and a 5-week-old little boy. And so we don't hate you. My family does not hate you. We don't want anything from you. We're just asking for the violence to stop, for the mothers and the fathers and the children and the grandparents and these lives to stop being ruined. And so if you have any influence and you're watching this, if you have, and it could be picking up a phone call and calling a politician or calling someone and asking them to help make it stop. That's just me as a person reaching through the screen and through this microphone, asking for it. And then if you have the power to help, whether that's through a large donation or a small donation, again, please go to www.supportukraine.world or find a different nonprofit. Does not have to be one of those two, but the Red Cross is there waiting. Help Us Help is there waiting with those buttons. And so those are there for you. On behalf of the Event Professionals team, if you made it to the end watching the replay or watching this live, thank you for being with us. I see the comments coming in. I see them on screen, and I'm going to go ahead and read them and respond to some on LinkedIn as well. But thank you for watching this. Thank you for supporting either financially or through some other means. And I hope that you are blessed. And thank you again. And then, yes, to close this out, thank you, Fab, for putting this up. This is a video that we just found earlier today that was shared with our team. And I hope that you enjoy this song, which I believe through my research, let me pull up the notes that I found in the description of this video. Where did I put it? So in the description of this video, it's basically a video created by, I believe, a Ukrainian girl. And she is basically just writing from the heart and singing from the heart. So please hear this.
I draw my life. Disegno la mia vita e la mia storia di un giorno quando piccola e indifesa mamma e papà mi portarono qui. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il mondo è violento, un futuro non ha. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il sogno si spegne, la paura ti prenderà. I bambini non giocavano, ma fuggivano con le mamme e i papà. La malvagità, nel cielo non brillava mai il sole, le strade erano vuote nel silenzio, ogni città, ogni giorno così. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il mondo è violento, un futuro non ha. C'era chi pregava per la pace, ma poi piangeva come noi, lasciando la sua casa e la sua vita per poi non tornare più. Non c'è pace, non c'è amore, quando il colpo di un cannone rompe il silenzio, scuote la notte ed il mondo chiude gli occhi. La vita tutta dentro una valigia, i soldi in una tasca ma non piena, con noi partì. La speranza è così. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il mondo è violento, un futuro non ha. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il sogno si spegne, la paura ti prende. I draw my life, moje życia. Quando il mondo è violento, un futuro non ha. Disegno la mia vita e la mia storia, e dopo un lungo viaggio nella notte tutto cambiò. Ora io sono qui. non giocavano, ma fuggivano da una guerra, chi lo sa se mai finirà. I drove my